Take a Seat Gaming is one of the oldest gaming communities in the scene. We don't have a big ego about it. We're just better than you. You're now listening to the Take a Seat Tidbits podcast, featuring different hosts and leaders every episode.
Welcome to Take a Seat Tidbits podcast. I am your host, Martini. I am joined by Ash, my co-host. Hello, Ash.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. How about yourself?
I'm good, thank you. Today's episode is going to be on the supernatural. So we have a few guests with us today. We have River. How are you doing, River?
Howdy. I'm doing excellent. Lovely to be here.
Thank you. And we also have Piney. How are you doing today, Piney?
I just woke up not even like 30 minutes ago, but I'm okay.
That's great to hear. I'm glad you slept some. Okay, so we're going to get straight into it today. So, do you guys believe in ghosts, poltergeists, or anything supernatural like that at all? Because I sure as hell do.
What do you mean by supernatural? Do you mean like the dead, ghosts, like things like that? Something even?
Yeah. Nothing like living. So like if you see like ghosts or like a like poltergeist or spirits, that
Yeah,
sort
I do.
of thing.
I very much believe in most of the undead type of things. Kind of freaks me out whenever I sleep, but yeah.
Piney, what about you? What's your opinion?
Oh, I most definitely believe in that shit.
Like in all of it, like ghosts, poltergeists, just everything in general.
Everything. Supernatural, paranormal, like Jeepers Creepers, whatever. Like all of it.
What about you, Ash? What's your opinions?
My opinion is that there is way too much unexplained shit that goes on to not believe in it.
That's very true. There's a lot of debunking theories between like YouTube videos and fake stuff as well, but there's definitely something out there that's unexplainable that happens within our universe. Do you guys, like, what's your opinions on things? Like, do you believe that there's science behind why this is happening, or do you think that there's genuinely another afterlife that's people are stuck in a limbo where they can't escape, so they're becoming like a ghost that's like stuck in, say, their house where they died?
I do believe that.
Wait, what was the question? I'm sorry.
You go first, that's my apology.
You're good. Shut up, Piney. Anyway. I do believe that there is that limbo in between, because you hear all those stories of like people dying in their house or dying like in specific locations, and then you see the stories of the visions of all those people like that are still there, and all kinds of shit that happens like behind the scenes, or not really behind the scenes, but like when there's nobody around.
That's definitely one. I feel like everyone experiences it differently. Obviously there's a lot of YouTubers and people that do that. That's my main go-to kind of thing, because obviously we had Sam and Colby who recently did the Conjuring series, and a lot of people debunked that, but that was because of the people that owned the Conjuring house themselves were quite criticized heavily based on things they were doing, because they wanted it to be debunked, and there was theories about that. Do you feel that there's like theories behind certain other things that you might see that aren't publicized?
There's most definitely theories that's going around, like for the paranormal. Like, there's most definitely theories out for that, like scientific theories, but you can't explain when you're standing. You can't explain when you're standing in an abandoned building and one of your friends next to you gets pushed down the steps. You can't explain that scientifically.
Yeah, you definitely can't explain things like that at all. Do you guys believe that, say, when you pass, when you're older, that you're going to be in this afterlife where you may become like a spirit, like a ghost or like a poltergeist, say, trapped where you might have died, or go to a place that you might have found love or enjoyment in your like happy place? Do you feel like you would go to somewhere like that after you die?
I definitely do 100% believe that.
Mm.
There is a few people that I would love to haunt when I die, eventually.
I feel like hauntings
But
definitely be so fun.
right?
I definitely want to. That's how I can go and haunt Ash.
Yeah, I was
At
gonna
least
say
step
I'm
of the
gonna
way. It's
haunt
like
Tiny.
that's why I'm like, hey, I may have died, but you still gotta deal with me.
I quite like that.
Like, and I'm a hunt mall too. Like, I'm just gonna haunt every single person in this PC just because I want to. Like, you're gonna see underwear thrown off the side of the room. You're gonna see a dish get tossed. You're just gonna see a remote moved underneath the couch. You're gonna just see some random stuff.
What's your guys'
I'm gonna make.
What's your guys' opinions on things like evil spirits and demons? Do you believe that they're a part of that as well, or if that's something different?
I believe that they do exist. I believe that theory that evil spirits are just spirits that died that had unfinished business or died like a tragic death due to somebody else. They got hit by a car, or they got shot or something, and they just want their revenge.
Yeah, because I feel like it can definitely be linked to, like, in a sense of that heaven and hell type of thing, where if, say, you die to like a tragic death that wasn't your fault or something, that you could turn into an evil spirit kind of thing and haunt whoever did that to you, or the place that you died, or if you just died a peaceful death, you kind of want to be a happy spirit, that sort of thing. I feel like there's a view on that, which links into what I'm gonna talk about. Did you want to say something? Go ahead.
Yeah. Part of that, like, what I think is demons. I 100% believe it. I believe in even spirits. I still believe in all that shit. Fucking, even though I'm not a Christian at all, but I do believe in all that stuff. I believe in like the demon aspect and stuff. And it's because when you sit there and think about it, you have these haunted houses. Like, let's say, I looked it up the other day. God, there was a Bobby Mackey's here in Kentucky. Bobby Mackey's, it's a very haunted place where it's known to have evil spirits. And when you go there, you can get pushed, you can get scratched, like you can hear like evil laughter or voices that's not really human.
Yeah.
And so like that's why I kind of do believe in that stuff. But it's like with the evil spirits and stuff, I feel like that's not people that's died in horrific ways. I think it's more of people that partially died in horrific ways, but it's like they was not that great of a person already, and it's like limbo would not let them be released to go like either way, and because they can't go either way because they died in a horrific way and it was a bad person at the same time. It's kind of like unfinished business in its own way.
I can agree with that. I feel like there's definitely something that can stop them from going to the afterlife, or if there's, say, a quest, in the best way to put it. They have a quest they have to complete before they're able to pass over and go to like
an NPC quest.
Yeah, like a game quest. Like you have to complete it, like kill this mob or something.
Gotta complete the tutorial to go to heaven. If you fail the tutorial, you go to hell. Then we're gonna have a whole new set of quests for you.
That's definitely one way to put it. So I'm going to give you some history on some places that I think are quite interesting and have a lot to talk about. One of my main ones is the Conjuring House. So in 1971, the Perron family moved into this notorious farmhouse in Harrisville, Rhode Island, completely unaware of its dark history. The house had been a home to several tragedies, including the infamous acts of Bathsheba Sherman, who was believed to be a witch. She was accused of murdering a baby with a sewing needle, and after her death, her malevolent spirit still supposedly haunted this house, and the Perron family experienced really strange phenomena, like objects disappearing, like spoons in their house, like wooden spoons and broom, and unexplained filth around the house, and major things like their beds shaking at 5:15 a.m. and they smelt rotting flesh and heard unsettling noises through the night. Carolyn Perrin, needle-like wounds on her leg had intensified their fears and seemingly confirmed that this house had this sinister past to it that they were completely unaware about. And they had paranormal experts, Ed and Lorraine Warren, investigate the house, and it confirmed the spiritual activity there, but they had failed to entirely cleanse this house. So it was still... there were these spirits that were still stuck in this house, still haunting people that go there. And Andrea Perrin, one of the daughters that lived there, later recounted her experiences that they had experienced at the house, which led them to create the movie The Conjuring House film. What are your guys' opinions on, say, The Conjuring House?
So I actually used to live about 20 minutes away from this house. So I've actually driven by it. I've been to it. It is actually private property now because of how many people went onto it and started taking videos, recording, taking pictures, whatever. So no one's actually allowed to go on the house anymore, or even like on the property anymore. But I believe it's very much real. The whole vibe that you get from just being in the area is, I don't want to say like strange or off, but it was just different.
It felt like you knew something was there, but you
yeah, it was definitely very unsettling, and I wanted to get the hell out of there as fast as we could.
Did you experience anything, because you said you had been to the house, did you like experience anything whilst you were there, like in the house?
Nothing really happened in the house. We weren't there too long because like I said, I just wanted to get the hell out of there because something felt off. But I'm not sure if you found this in your research, but there was also another death that happened there. I believe it had something to do with the river. In the back of it, there was a small child that drowned back there whose spirit is also on the property. And one of the children that lived there, sorry, my brain's trying to like form words. And one of the children that lived there used to actually play with this child's spirit. Like it was a good one. It was friendly. Like it just wanted to play because it was a small child. But the child that was living at the house would see this child's spirit and play with it. And that child was the only one that could see the spirit. So like everyone else was very confused.
That's definitely creepy sounding. At least like... it seemed like it might have been a good spirit, especially like because I feel like a lot of people who have maybe like psychic abilities or like mediums, they always seem to tend to have these experiences from when they were quite young, like young children, like toddler, like 6, 7 age, have these like experiences with other spirits. That definitely sounds like something that might have happened to that child.
Yeah, the child's spirit that was in the house was actually very protective of the child that was there.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of cute.
Okay. I also have St. George's Church in Czech Republic. So St. George's Church was located in Lakova, and it's known to be one of the most spookiest places in Czech Republic and possibly in the world. It was abandoned by the locals who believed the church was haunted. It had gained its reputation for being haunted when its roof fell in during a funeral in 1968. This ill omen led locals to hold church services outside rather than venturing into a supposedly cursed interior of the building, which was consecrated in 1352. So it was a very old building. People stayed away from this church and it fell into despair, only adding to its sense of mystique. However, in 2012, a local art student, Jacob Herdrava, had the idea to install 32 life-size ghosts in the buildings, and the worldly figures were intended to represent the 30 million Sudeten Germans who were expelled from Czech Republic following the end of World War II. These plaster statues sit in somber poses in the church pews, underlining the abandonment of the church for living in fear by it being populated by the dead. People like locals and people that have visited the church themselves have responded to these plaster statues by calling them an oddly calming and bringing an added sense of peace and repose to the ancient building. Locals have said the art installations have been positive by bringing tourism and also adding to the fortunes of the previous derelict church. So essentially these figures in this church sit in the rows, and they're quite big and white, and you can visit this church because it's become very popular since being known about this. But people said, it gives this eerily calming feeling to you when you visit it. But the people after this roof fell in refuse to go inside this church. Do you feel like that's something that you believe you would do if you sensed it, that cursed interior?
Yeah, I think my family in particular would usually avoid churches like that or just anything like that. Since usually half the time when a place becomes cursed or just a place just becomes completely drawn out like that, usually something wrong, evil, really. There's nothing else to really explain it. You can really just try and say, oh, maybe you were drunk that day, or maybe something was wrong with you, maybe it's psychedelic, something happened to you, but most of the time with physical things like that, evil can just be harnessed into it, and it's just there until it's either dealt with or just forgotten about, but it will just always be there. It's really horrifying to think about it.
Yeah. It's creepy when you go into a place like that. It really is. When I was in high school, I went to a couple places with my friends, and every time we entered a place like that was spooky. So you will always get that feeling. It's a weird feeling that you'll get when you walk into a place like that.
You can just sense that there's something there.
Yeah. Not supposed to.
Do you think that the people that had died during that funeral are still living in that, their spirits are still living in that church, but do you feel like they might be positive spirits, they're not going to harm you, or do you feel like they might be a bit more on the evil side, praying for someone to come in so they can attach themselves or something like that?
I think most of the spirits, though, most of those people are good. But I think some of them might hold resentment and have ill will and intentions. Plus, they'll just... Okay, I'm going to kind of bring up a show, Portal to Hell. That show, if you watched it, they talk about how those portals to hell where demons can climb out in very haunted places. Well, there might even be one of those there where you have a demon that's actually in that church. Because, mind you, popular belief, demons can't enter sanctified ground. That's a lie. You can go into a church and you can get smacked by a demon in the butthole.
That's definitely one way to put it. Ash, did you have anything you wanted to add to that at all? Or...
Yeah, I was just gonna let Piney finish, but I kind of feel the opposite that Piney did, of that they're all good, because I feel like everyone in there that died is going to be extremely pissed off that they were just trying to honor their loved one at a funeral, and then all of a sudden the roof comes collapsing down and now they're dead.
Yeah.
I'd be pretty pissed off if that was me.
I think I would definitely hold resentment against it. But then I would think about the fact that this building was created in 1352. So it's a really old building, and it definitely could have happened. But I feel like I would have probably held some resentment on the fact that this tragedy has happened and now I'm dead. I don't want to be dead.
Yeah, it's what are the odds of it happening to me?
Yeah.
And then it happened.
Yeah, you wouldn't think about that at all whilst you're attending a funeral, sending off the person that has died, one of your loved ones. You're wanting them to rest peacefully, and then you end up dying yourself.
Yeah, you end up joining them. Go to a funeral. Let's celebrate no life. Never mind. I'll meet you in the afterlife.
I'm gonna celebrate your death with you.
Let's go skipping down the fields of Elysium or something.
I also have another place that I've done a bit of research on called St. Augustine's Lighthouse, which is located in Florida. So we have two American haunted places. So St. Augustine was built in 1871 to 1874. It was the site of the first lighthouse established in Florida by the new territorial American government in 1824. Several tragic events have occurred at this now historic site, which have contributed to the alleged paranormal activity. There is a ghost of the lighthouse keeper who fell to his death whilst painting the tower and has been spotted watching over the grounds. And ever since the horrific death of 3 girls who had drowned on a cart while they were playing, broke and fell into the ocean, and visitors have claimed to hear the sounds of the children playing in and around the lighthouse. So there's definitely kid ghost spirits that are a bit more playful and trickster like, which some people believe, but this place it's got multiple spirits still there and being territorial and still living their life essentially in this lighthouse because it's right by the ocean. It's like the gateway to the afterlife in some senses. It helped boats pass around the ocean and not to crash into the land, and now it's helping ghosts have a place to try and pass over possibly. What do you guys think of that?
I feel like generally speaking, children's spirits don't really know what happened. So it's like they don't really understand that they're dead, so them being children, they just want to play.
Yeah. Because they probably definitely have that childish side to them. And then there's definitely been, at least I've seen recordings of kids' spirits being quite trickster, like in that kind of Joker sense. Like they want to play games with you and they push a ball around or something like that. So it definitely seems like they're still hanging around there, just being who they were before. Maybe even still playing on that cart because it went right along the river, like the side by the sea and everything. It was still in maintenance because it was helping construction of the lighthouse and other buildings around that area. Do you feel like all children's spirits might be playful and kind of more kid friendly in a sense compared to, like, say, an adult spirit who might be a bit more on the evil side?
I feel like the children's spirits that understood what happened won't be as playful. But like if you see a little like 5-year-old, 6-year-old child, it's not really gonna fully understand that it's dead.
Yeah.
So it's still gonna have that little childish side to it and be like, oh yeah, like let's play catch or let's play tag or something, not fully understanding that not everyone can see it and like we can't touch it.
Yeah. Do you guys have any of your own personal ghost stories at all? Like anything you've personally experienced from any haunted places at all?
How many can I talk about?
As many as you want.
I got a couple.
I got a lot. So I there's a lot on my list. You might want to go through them first since you said that.
Alright. Yeah, who wants to go first?
You may go first.
Alright, so this one's not as bad. I'll start with the little baby one first. Probably like 7 years old or 8 at the time, and the house that I lived in, basically the entire city hall got burned down in 1920. So all houses that were built before then, the titles and everything in the history of it was gone. So we had no clue what happened to this house before then. And yeah, I was about 7 or 8. I was sleeping and I randomly woke up around 3, 4 a.m. and all I see is this black shadow above my door frame. And it just freaked me out because like it was there for a good like 10 seconds, 15 seconds. So it was like I knew I wasn't going fucking crazy.
Did it continuously stay there? Like say it happened that night. Did it stay there for other nights as well, or was it just that one time?
No, that was the only time I saw it.
That's very creepy.
I would also have things from my room just randomly disappear, never be seen again. I saw a shadow figure peek around my doorway a few times, and when I would ask my mom about it, asking if she like checked on me in the middle of the night, she was like, "Nah, I was sleeping."
So you're seeing like full on like apparitions that look.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Do you still live
And
currently at that place?
No.
I was gonna say, are you still living in a haunted house?
No. The second one I have, so it's at a place in Rhode Island called the Cumberland Monastery. It's a wooded area that has a library smack dab in the middle of it where a bunch of monks used to live way many billion fucking years ago. But there's this one place in the woods. It's called Nine Men's Misery. I believe back in 1864, a bunch of people basically got stoned to death, and that was their gravesite. And there was a lot of stories that you could still hear, like the horseshoes on the ground, and you could hear like people talking, people screaming, and of course, me being me, I had to go check it out. So I went a couple times. The first time we didn't really see much of anything. There was just like a random glove just on a log next to it. But you definitely got that unsettling feeling from it. And then I went back again a couple months later because we used to just like walk around in the woods sometimes.
Mm.
So the next time we went back, there was a glove with an upside down cross just sitting like on the gravesite thing. And then all of a sudden, we were there maybe a minute, and I started hearing the horseshoes. I started hearing people screaming. I was like, I gotta get the fuck out of here.
Do you believe those spirits who like might have died from being stoned there are a bit more on the evil side, or do you feel like they're just peaceful, just staying in that area, like the horseshoe noise and everything?
I like to believe they're nice, but because of how they died, I don't really think that they're gonna be too happy.
Mm. Yeah.
No. Does we want to get into a couple of questions?
That's all I can think
stories
of.
like over
So
the
if
mine or the
River,
dash
if you
have
want to
yours?
go, or if you want to listen to Piney rant for the next hour.
We know what's going to happen.
Doesn't really matter to me, but yeah, sure, I'll go next. I have like 3 or 4 I can remember off the top of my head. But I remember when I was a boy, I was driving back home because we used to live near this old cemetery, like full of old graves, but they were just all covered with grass and moss and all that crap. Really sad to see how that cemetery went, but when we were driving down the road late one night, I just remember faintly seeing the ghost. I know it sounds really false, but I just remember seeing the ghost of this boy who just went running past our car, and my mom thought she hit him. She hard checked herself, and then that boy leapt over into the cemetery and he disappeared. It creeped me out since then.
Wow. That would definitely creep me out, especially if you're driving and you feel like you've hit something. You're instantly gonna like slam on the brakes and make sure you haven't or checked it out. But to see it just like disappear off in the distance,
really,
like into the
really
graveyard,
messed me
is
up for
very
good.
creepy.
But yeah, it happens. A real personal one of mine really was, I don't know if this happens to any of y'all, but I don't dream at all. Like last time I dreamed was like 4 years ago. And that dream was of my grandfather, and he died that day. We're about to go to see his rosary, and before we went, I took a nap, and I just remember seeing him in a really beautiful field of wheat, and him just sitting at the porch of a White House. And I just remember just seeing him staring off into literally nowhere. Then someone called him in the house, and then he went inside, and then it all just disappeared. Then I woke up. Really, really weird.
That definitely is weird. I feel like I've had similar experiences to that. Obviously, not of necessarily people dying, but I had that not a deja vu sense, but I had a sense that I knew something was coming and it wasn't good. Like I could feel like I could have a dream about it. I could just sense it, like I don't know how to explain, like that butterfly feeling. Like I could sense something was wrong, and it was coming. It happened when my cat had passed away. I just could sense that something wasn't right with her. So I feel like that's definitely like, I don't want to say like medium, because like mediums can like have those senses where they can see things or hear things or talk to them kind of thing. Like I feel like that's quite a, I don't want to say like unusual, but like it's definitely a weird feeling to say the least, knowing something's gonna happen.
I had something similar when my grandmother passed as well.
All right, Piney, did you want to go on with yours?
Oh, here we go.
Go.
Yeah. Sure. Like, well, I can fucking. I've had numerous experiences, but I can chop it down to like probably my top 5 of like the point that I had. I walk at a whole spot, and one of the kitchens I'm usually in doing April and October is my main kitchen. This is like one of those. I think this was like 2 years ago. It was like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning after an event, and we had to push stuff over to the kitchen like all the time at night, and I pushed glasses over on my own, and then I started walking back across the floor, and I just had a sinking feeling something was staring at me the whole time. I was like, okay, and it freaked me out, and I turned around, and okay, I don't know how much this will be believable. As soon as I turned around, there was like a hallway leading to one of the bar, and then like another hallway leading out, and I'm on that hallway leading out. Around the corner, like next to the stairs, there was literally a face like peeked around the corner, like you know how like, sometimes a kid or human human being will like peek around the corner to see what's going on around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Something was literally staring at me from that perspective, and how I knew it could not be an animal or anything is that was human head level.
So definitely something that wasn't an animal. Do you feel like maybe it might have been part animal, part
No.
human, or like fully human?
No. I feel like what that is, I don't think that was part human, part animal. So those like all are within paranormal. Supernatural. Those like shadow beings, like shadow people.
Yeah,
I kind of feel like
like
that was one of them.
yeah. Because I feel like
Yeah.
with things like apparitions, I feel like you can sense them staring at you, even in the background. And like, say if you record it, like you might not be able to notice it on the day when you're experiencing it. Like if you say look back at that footage, you might be able to see it in the background staring.
I had to sit there and stare at the wall a good solid like 5 minutes because I was just standing there because I was like, okay, it's a weird feeling. I looked back and then I saw it, and I swear I booked it. I don't think I've went as fast as I have in my life. Like I was panting halfway through, and I'm not that fat. Another story from that place is like we got another building. It's called a King Place, and every event, this happens like all the time. Like, cause those whole stories about how like there's this lady who haunts the place called Miss King. She's like she was married to the dude that originally started the racetrack, and so every time we have an event, it's like once it hits like midnight, like the lights go off. Nobody touches the light. Nothing. All the lights go off, even if we still have people there. And it's like she's trying to tell people to go, but it's like if it's not a good event, like she flicks the light on like off and on constantly, and so like now and like it's creepy. Like and also dealing with the basement that we have there, like it's always creepy because like you feel like something's watching you or whatever. And every time we like so that's why none of us actually love to walk that place at night because like always creepy at night because like you know the lights are going to go off, something's going to be watching you down in the basement at night.
I feel like you can definitely sense, like when you walk into a place, you might not know that much about it, and you feel like you sense there's something there. It definitely is an eerie, unsettling feeling, especially if you know, like say at 12 o'clock at night, you know the lights are going to turn off, something's like
yeah.
That personally would make me feel so unsettled. I just could not deal with it.
Yeah, and I still walk to that place to this day.
Yeah, I could never.
Okay, I'll just go with two more that I have because they're pretty big ones. You know how I mentioned Bobby Mackey's before? Oh, me and my friend in high school, because we both went to Bobby Mackey's because it was like all about paranormal, and they drove because I don't have a license, but that's neither here nor there. But we went to Bobby Mackey's. We tried to like stay the night, but we could not. Like we could not stay. We heard voices, like there was like people sitting there, like I heard this one voice. Well, it was like a raspy voice, and it said, "If you do not leave tonight, I will make sure you're dead by the morning." Yeah, like we had things thrown at us. We had
Shit.
we had creepy feeling, and then like the final point, right before we left, me and my friend was walking down the steps. That's like because it goes up into like the storage area. Like we started walking down, and she gets literally pushed down the steps.
Oh God!
yeah, she gets pushed, and I grabbed her arm. It wasn't really that steep of the steps because it was like almost down it, but like she got pushed, and after that, like we fled that place so fast. Like we're not staying here at all.
I don't blame you.
Jesus.
And then, okay, the final one was with was in my family home, like my grandma and grandpa when I was a kid. Like my sister would tell you this too. Like every time, like we would be going to bed and stuff, it's like we would hear like voices in the living room when everybody's asleep. Like it sounded like children and adults talking every night. It's like
Yeah.
it's like mom would be asleep in the other room, my grandparents would be asleep in their room. And it's like we're just sitting there and we're doing whatever. But like it's like as soon as midnight hit, like a convention. If you sit there at a convention and you like hear, you know how like all those voices when you're there, like you hear like very loud voices. Like that's how it was. It was like a convention of spirits was in our living room with kids. Could hear it every night. Nothing happened, but like I know one night I walked out of the bedroom because I was curious, and I was like, okay, is mom and grandpa still up talking? Or mom and grandma? I walked out, and nobody was in the living room. Nobody was in the dining room or the kitchen. But it wasn't like
Yeah.
It was creepy. I was like 6, but at the same time, I did not like. It didn't freak me out to the point where I was like, hey, let's leave. It was like, okay, nothing's happening. Just a bunch of. I'm just going to hear voices every night. I hear dead people. But yeah,
That's definitely.
Yeah.
There's definitely one thing I would always want to try out if I ever go to a haunted place, and that is like having like equipment here. Say like you see all these people use all this different like supernatural equipment, like a spirit box where it essentially tunes into a specific frequency where you can supposedly hear what these like spirits or ghosts or even like evil spirits say things, and it's like you can start to have a conversation and ask these questions to them. I feel like that's something I would definitely want to try, or like do an Estes method. So where you're completely sensory deprived, you've got like a blindfold on, you've got these headphones on, linked into like the spirit box, so you're directly hearing all of these words that they might be saying, or if they're laughing or something like that. And I feel like that's definitely like an experience I would want to have. What do you guys think of like something like that?
I would love to. It just sounds so interesting. Like just to be able to sit down and have a conversation with someone who's no longer with us.
Yeah.
And see how they were back then and just talk to them. It would be pretty interesting.
I would definitely want to try it because I'm like always a little bit skeptical. I'm like, are you really hearing this or are you just saying it? Like kind of thing. Like I want to have like a full in-depth like kind of thing, like say visiting the Conjuring house, because I've personally never been anywhere like majorly haunted. I've only been to like a haunted castle and that was it, but I was very young, so I didn't really understand everything that was going on. At my age now, I'm like, I really want to try something like this out and have the full experience that others might have. And especially for someone like, if you're someone that doesn't believe in ghosts or the paranormal, it's definitely a crazy experience you would want to try and have to see if that maybe even changes your opinion on it.
You can most definitely know when it's a get the fuck out
It is a
situation.
very interesting experience, but also the vibe that you can get from some places, like when I went to the Conjuring house, it was very unsettling and it made me not want to be there anymore.
Yeah. Do you feel like it was a bit more of an evil kind of like unsettling feeling rather than that there was something good there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was definitely more on the get the fuck out side of unsettling.
Yeah. There's a TV show on Netflix I watched a couple months ago with a family member where these supposedly paranormal experts, it was filmed on Netflix by the way, so there's already enough said about Netflix with like if it's real or not, but they filmed in these different buildings. Trying to remember one of them was like a cafe kind of place in the south of America, and they essentially had two of these people. One was like more connected to these spirits and they would attach themselves to him, and the other one was just kind of there, like like she was like a medium and she could just like sense what was going on or if there's something there. And it was quite dramatic to say the least. And at one point in the episode, this man was screaming for like this demon to get off him so they could like essentially pass him over into like an afterlife so he's not bothering other spirits that might be trapped there, kind of thing. Do you feel like things where they've made like TV shows and whatnot, do you feel like that's fake, or do you feel like some part of it's real?
I feel like some part of it's real, but if you're going in for a TV show, I feel like you're staging and scripting a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I feel like that definitely happens a lot more, especially back when like going to like abandoned buildings and whatnot was a very popular thing on like YouTube. It might have started originally like real, but then it started going so fake kind of thing, like people would fake it just so they could get the views and whatnot. To now coming to now, it's hard to like believe if it's real or not unless you like fully experience it yourself or if you've had your own experiences. Do you have like any debunking theories at all to like places you've been or places you've heard about?
I don't have any that I can think of off the top of my head. I don't know if River or Piney has any, if you guys want to butt in and give your opinions.
Well, there's always a scientific way, or just really just an average way to test, like, oh, this is actually just hallucinations or something. Usually half the time, some of the spooky houses or wherever you go that feels haunted or just isn't half the time.
Mm.
Funny enough, there was a haunted house down my street when I was a kid, but
Yeah,
it wasn't really haunted. There was just a gas leak.
because
So all the hallucinations we're going through was just fucking gas going to their systems.
fair enough, because I feel it definitely every time that someone goes to a different place, they're gonna have a different experience. So it's really gonna put it off on whether it's real or not. Like, because you may experience nothing the first time, but then you may experience it a second time. And I feel that, say Sam and Colby, because I'm obsessed with them, their series on the Conjuring House, they had a bit of a two different experience compared to when they went the first time to when they went the second or third time, because there were different owners of the house and a lot of people had their theories on, like, they put cameras up, they put all the soundboards up and all these different sort of things. So it's definitely harder to believe, I feel like. And there's sometimes can just be the most logical explanation to things. Obviously, people are always going to put out their theories out there and their conspiracy theories on what it might be. But yeah, did you have like any theories of your own of what you feel like might be just a simple explanation to one thing? Like, because
I was gonna say one, but I don't really recall it. But I do remember a recent story that was a cursed, got made into the movie. It's called The Iron Claw. And that basic story just falls around these brothers, the Von Evericks. They're really old school professionally. They were one of the pioneers to really start coaxing it up here in America. And like they really shot off. Like you can look them up. They're called the Von Evericks and all. But each and every brother, besides the fourth one, died fucking horribly. The real kicker is that the father basically took on the Von Everett name because he thought it would be like, oh, good way to get rich or whatever the fuck. Such a nice name. Possibly nothing wrong. But the grandmother of his side had that name and basically she was cursed from something. They never really explained it in the movie, or at least I forgot. But yeah, one of the brothers dies from OD, the other one loses his leg and then eventually kills himself, and it just goes down this rabbit hole of just really depressing things over just a last name.
Yeah. And finally, wrapping up on today's episodes, I would just like to ask, would you attend like any of these paranormal, like kind of haunted places to experience it yourself, see if what people are saying is true?
No.
Just based on if you're just the vibe you get, like
No.
it would just be too I feel
You'll have to kill me and drive my corpse over there. I'm not going over there.
I feel like I would want to experience it a little bit. Obviously, I wouldn't want to get too attached or too involved, but I definitely want to experience it so I can back people up and be like, this is definitely something I've experienced, or I feel like it's just played up a bit more, that sort of thing. What about you, Ash?
Considering the fact that I have already, I would definitely do it again.
Yeah. And Piney, what's your opinion? Would you want to visit a spooky place?
Well, someone asked, I've done it before, so it's not like I wouldn't do it again. I just probably would not go to another place like probably Mickey's.
Yeah.
That shit was good. Like, on so many levels, so I probably would not do something like that again. But I will most definitely do it again.
Sounds like we all kind of want to go. Again, we should do a TSP group. Just head over to like a haunted place and record there.
Y'all can go die. I ain't going for nobody.
Well, I know one place we definitely cannot go. It got demolished. It's kind of similar to Bobby Mackey's. The Demon House, if y'all ever watch Paranormal Witness.
That's what I was just thinking of.
Zach Baggins actually destroyed that house because they had they had an episode on it, and then he bought it so nobody else would live in it and stuff because of it.
Yeah,
they had it.
He has like a whole museum filled with all of these different parts from all these different buildings and dolls and whatnot, and it's, from what I've seen, it's quite an eerie, creepy place to be. Like, you've got all of this massive paranormal ghost like spirits, say, attached to these things, and it's just in one area.
I saw somewhere where he said that he has someone come like once a month or something like that to bless the place.
Yeah,
I would bless it.
Just to keep everything like contained.
I definitely would agree to that, like having like a blessing or having like a priest or something being like, do not attach yourself or whatever they do. I would definitely want that so I get nothing from it.
Yeah, they most definitely do that stuff. But like the Paranormal House, it was so scary when they went over there in his YouTube video that he has posted, to the point where it was like, yeah, this should not be a thing, so they straight up destroyed it.
Yeah, Zach Bagans actually made a movie on it.
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
I think it was on Netflix for a little bit.
And now it's on YouTube. I think they got rid of it on Netflix.
Yeah, but he like interviews all like the old owners of the house and everything, and like he puts his own experiences in there and records himself, and it's all in the movie. It was pretty interesting to watch.
Definitely.
I think he also has a housekeeper to keep it clean and stuff.
All right, so we're going to wrap up today's episode. Thank you all so much for joining and listening to our paranormal episode. If you'd like to hear more, we will gladly do more. Please do check out our other podcast episodes, and thank you all for joining.